and look at Shenandoah coming out here first. It will be Way Awesome Kevin coming in at that top lane. It'll be Kangaroo Feet coming in the jungle. Pet Napper, of course, at the mid lane. And then at ADC is going to be Cretan with Ether at support.
Yeah, this roster for Shenandoah University, very well respected. I mean, Shenandoah University as a university was one of the oldest esports degrees in the country, right? So, and they've got teams in all sorts of titles. So this varsity team coming in this split, they're happy to be here. They're looking forward to this competition, and they not only want to do well, but they also kind of want to show the JV team how well a team from this private university without scholarships can really perform here.
And I think that's something to very well prove. Of course, on the other side of the rift, for game number 1, of course, will be Southern Miss Esports. We got Sarko in the top side, the team captain Haddle in that jungle. Of course, we got Jungle Allen in the mid lane. Please, have fun with that one. Young Talent at the ADC role. And then, of course, we got Gahe at support.
Yeah, and with this Southern Miss team, Orbital, they are mechanically quite strong as well. They've been putting a lot of work in the off season to kind of bring things together. If you take a look at their sort of match histories, you can see that these 5 players have been putting in the time, playing those flex games, making sure they get the synergy. And I'm going to be honest, Orbital, when I had a chance to talk to their coach, Mr. Toast, they are very respectful of Shenandoah University as a whole. And that's terrifying because when you've got good players playing with a lot of respect, it gets really hard for the team they're up against.
And that, I think, is going to come down to maybe an experience difference, right? How to line for you, and you know what? I don't dislike it. Shenandoah University Blue, of course, running with that Maokai J4, Rumble in the mid lane, and Smolder and Nautilus in the bot lane.
Okay, this is interesting too. Because Young Talent, we were just talking about how he likes to play lane dominant champions, and we see a Jinx being picked up, and I was actually told this is R1 Jinx. So they blinded the Jinx. And Creighton decided to go Smolder into it. A shorter range champion.
Oh.
Hook lands onto Gahi.
It does not matter if the short range, because the fireball wins it through. Unfortunately, Awesome Kevin got it because I want to see Creighton have first blood. There's the fist bump. You got to love it. Only 3 of the 5, though. Come on, get it together.
I actually haven't really seen the fist bump mechanic in very many of the stream matches. You know, the teamwork Orbital, hopefully that improves throughout this game. But you know what? You're right. Who cares about the range when you've got Nautilus and Ether can just land that hook and pull them into range for Smolder to be able to pop off. Good first blood, and it goes over the way of Way Awesome Kevin on the top side in that solo lane you're talking about, Orbital, that 1v1 island. The best, it's fine for that 1v1 situation in terms of just trying to lane. However, in terms of the impact in the game, I almost feel like you've got to get Kangaroo Feet up there to get some of those ganks going and get some of the kills into Jarvan and then into the other lanes instead. If not, that isolated lane won't really be able to benefit. That first blood might not mean that much. It is a Ruby Crystal, which is not a rough thing at all to start with.
Really isn't. And on the other side for the Eagles, they didn't lose much either, right? Gahe did go ahead and keep that flash heal, so it's not impossible to deal with. It's literally you just gave a little extra gold and you still push. However, that tower shot is a problem. Now you draw in the Milio again. That tower, the level 2 early may have messed the Eagles up. They are burning all their summoners. Still flash on Young Talent, but Creighton and Ether go ahead and steal away a March. Now it's firing back. Young Talent doing some work, but man, that could have gone way differently.
Yeah, and huge props to Ether with these hooks so far. It's been on point. We touched on the fact that the range is important and range is hard for Smolder to deal with, and I want to double down on that because Southern missed it. You've got Milio who can knock somebody back and increase the range of a Jinx who already has one of the longer ranges in the game with those rockets, and despite that advantage, we're seeing Ether constantly find this. Now Kangaroo Feet looking down here. There's a ward. Does it matter?
No, because Haddle's here as well, and they're going to fight, but again, the collapse is just too good. The Hornets sting away at 2 more in the bottom lane.
Once again, it's Ether kicking it off, dashing forward, flashing forward, using that stun to lock people down, and suddenly this bot lane becomes really dicey for Southern Miss. Do you keep going back down there? I feel like for Haddle, you kind of need to cover that bot lane a little bit, and that means you won't be able to go gank into the other lanes. That Cassante we were talking about, not going to get much help to nullify that first blood. Jungle Allen in the mid lane, maybe not going to get as many ganks to deal with a Rumble, who at level 6 becomes very dangerous.
I don't want to see level 6 rolls around. I'm very, very scared. I'm very, very worried. But it's, listen, this is how it's going to start. You know, both these teams are very excited to play off against each other, you know, have a lot of respect. But at the same time, 3 kills at the start, Eagles have to be a little bit wary. Kangaroo Feet saying, hey, I'm already available. And in this mid lane, you do need to help the Rumble out. Now we're going to go ahead and get that gank. It's a good tether to deny any further follow-up. But Allen losing the flash, Kangaroo Feet has now drawn multiple pieces of pressure for the team already.
Good flash from Allen to keep him alive. And meanwhile, we are seeing Hado kind of path into that top lane. And I was wondering if we'd see Hado go for the gank because you saw Kangaroo Feet mid. You know that you have those couple of seconds hit starts. And frankly, early game with some of these ganks overall, a couple of seconds is all you need to secure the takedown and kind of move on from there. Instead, Hado just kind of going back to the jungle and farm it up, but we're not seeing a significant CS differential for these jungles just yet.
And I do have a feeling that, you know, Haddle is kind of seeking that opportunity, right? Trying to look for the space, and as a team captain, you, unfortunately, in some of these dire situations, you are the one that everyone kind of looks at for that level of help, and that is a step up. I wasn't sure that was going to happen, but Young Talon stepped in front of the minions. Actually decides to fight. Creighton, though, taking a little bit low, and now it's actually on the reverse. Ether now getting chunked out. You don't really have flash. I don't think you can get away, and that's a good punt back. Hey, ensures this kill goes through using that flash was finally there to try and get the kill just outside of tower range. Young Talent does not want to follow through, but Creighton is staying to farm this up. What a nice play from Gahay and Young Talent.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay, able to survive that one. Kind of close overall. Very, very low health bars. Southern Mist coming out ahead. And let's talk a little bit about Smolder, because we mentioned Smolder's got great scaling. We mentioned that, you know, the early lane can be a little bit rough. Range is an issue. But let's talk about what Smolder's role is, because Smolder's not your traditional marksman. The dragon isn't going to stand there and auto attack, and that means in extended fights, you tend to fall out to the damage that an AD carry can put out. Kangaroo Feet, do they know? Oh! So close. Unfortunately, guessed wrong. And yes, going back to Smolder. Smolder is actually an physical damage caster. So really, it's about your spell rotations. It's about those cooldowns. And we saw, unfortunately, in that longer fight, the cooldowns took too long.
You know what cooldowns are quite long as well as Petnapper watching that W from Haddle just come out. By the way, the longest... We've seen some very funny Xin Zhao interactions. Feeling the weight of it as Petnapper loses a flash.
Yeah. Still, though, Petnapper is fine. We talked about level 6 for Rumble. It has been hit overall. So Equalizer is available. And the other one we have to watch, of course, now is Kangaroo Feet, because the Cataclysm Equalizer ultimate, or as we like to affectionately call it, the hot combo, is very difficult for Nico to deal with. All out in the top lane from Sarko.
All right, the blades are out, ready to chop a tree, and I don't think way awesome Kevin has it, but a nice W! The hands work out well. That is multiple times that you dodge out on the Cassante Q, the empowered Q to knock him back. Well done, Kevin with 2.
Maybe it was that first blood orbital. Maybe it was just enough to get Kevin the items he needed to win that 1v1, because it's rare that you see the Maokai take a 1v1 like that and win it. So huge props to them. That should give them priority over the Void Grubs as well. I'd love to see them take all 3. We've been seeing a lot of players kind of just take 1 or 2 to deny it away from the opponent. But I think when you get a kill in the top lane like that and you've got the numbers advantage, you might as well take all 3.
Just go ahead, grab what you can, and Easy does it. And Haddle just kind of has to sit there and go, okay. This is what we're dealing with. Well done, though. The entire side of the Hornets feeling it strong right now. I'm feeling good about it, too. Of course, with those grubs being taken, I'm kind of curious if we are going to see the full weight of the grubs. Right now, Eagles are pretty much all pressuring in, right? Allen in the mid lane is going to have pressure. Topside Cassante is still going to have, I think, pretty good wave control. And then, of course, Young Talent and Gahay with Infernal Dragon up. Maybe looking to make a play there with Haddle to try and secure a global objective for themselves.
Haddle is pathing towards that bot side right now, and Kangaroo Feet kind of pathing the opposite way, but no vision on either of these junglers right now. So I don't know if Southern Mist is aware that Shenandoah is not really in position. We do see the call out as they are moving in, and it looks like Shenandoah, are they going to contest this? I mean, I'm seeing Petnapper kind of move in as well.
I mean, there's a pink ward there, so they had to take it away, and that is going to stall out a little bit of time, but Eagles also don't have vision. I think a Kangaroo Feet wasn't really in front, and this is going to be a chance down to about 2k. That might be a chance. Kangaroo Feet does have the all in, but that's not where he in goes. Mom burns them all up, and the Eagles are able to fight, but a nice Pop Blossom slows him down, and now a re-engage. Eagles are going to go ahead and grab one apiece. but it's only a 1-for-1. Dragon does go their way.
Might
That
be
seems
more.
that's all it's going to be. Pet Napper getting run down here, though. Again, you don't really have that many speed ups. And Young Talon with that Ghost wanted a bit more. But honestly, Hornets, they got very close to getting wiped there.
Yeah, well, on one hand, yes, overall, but also on the other hand, the team fighting from the side of Shenandoah is incredibly strong. And one thing we didn't touch on was the composition. So let's touch on that right now, because Shenandoah actually has an incredibly strong team fight at this point in the game. We mentioned the hot pot combo between J4 and Rumble, but Smolder can also do a lot of AoE. Maybe not at this point in the game, but certainly later on. And when you've got Nautilus and Maokai as well, a ton of CC that can pile in these sort of team fights. So later on, if they can land all of it, it is going to be massive.
And you can see that gold already being built up here. About 3k on Pet Napper, as well as way else from Kevin getting some to be that front lane tank. And that should help out kind of get over that hump and make sure everyone stays in the hot pot, right? Because you can see the gold there as well. Kangaroo Feet, they're having fun. I can't even talk about the gold, man. I was so excited for that because opposite side and gets pinched. It is now 6-2 as the Hornets are starting to build up their nest.
And that's huge, because overall, when we were talking about gold, one thing we also wanted to note was that the fact that that 700 gold difference you're talking about, that's sitting in the top lane. That was with Kevin, right? And with that solo kill, with that first blood. And Kevin wasn't at that fight. So the gold differential on that bot side was actually pretty much the same. Now they're getting more kills onto the side of their bot lane. That spreads it out, and that's the significant gold that I think is really going to matter if we're looking at contesting dragons, if we're looking to have those bigger fights down bot.
All right, well, the fights down bot might be transitioning mid. We see Ether going ahead and getting a little bit of help in this mid lane, sending it down, but Allen has been juggling. By the way, using those clones very well. I think that's now, we've seen the clone twice, and in each instance, Allen has taken a different direction than the original, so really well done on the cloning. That's what you see in a great player, as a Haddle visits this top side, but I don't think he really contests, right? Sarko down to about 10% HP.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Haddle is just, you know, that's zoning with attitude coming through from Haddle. I'm gonna be honest. I think Kevin could actually just turn around and fight Haddle if they want. This is a 3-level differential gank.
Oh man,
they're already gone.
Yeah, I mean RMC. You mentioned this special combo, and as soon as the ults are up, Hornets are like, yeah, that move. We're gonna do that move. Allen trying to come up and help out as well, but I mean, really, all you're gonna do is deny this next wave. Well played, Hornets, being proactive on the map immediately to ensure Pet Napper gets the most out of that ult.
You know, I know it's Valentine's, but I'm just saying, Lunar New Year was just a couple of days ago, and at least in my culture, Lunar New Year often comes with hot pots with the family. So,
yep.
Yeah, maybe it's tradition at Shenandoah as well, or if not, it could be what they start up. But yeah, very effective use of that hot pot combo coming through from Kangaroo Feet and Pat Napper so far, really helping out both side lanes.
And being this expressive, I think it's really important because now you've actually forced a difference out of the Eagles. You can actually see, I can't even talk, that's going to be a little bit of a depth charge, easy play in the spot side. And really, we're just watching to see how long it takes them to kill. Creighton is not even worried. The E is perfect. Creighton is down to about 100 HP, but I mean, Haddle comes in just a little bit too late.
Yeah, and Gahey still had heal. I'm going to be honest, Orbital, I was sweating through that engage. I wasn't sure Creighton and Ether were going to win that, but just through the narrowest of margins, and that is a concern. When Smolder starts to win lane, Orbital, I didn't quite see how many stacks Creighton has right there, 84, I think. So it's still a ways away from that critical 225 stack point. If you're already winning now, it's only going to get worse for the side of Southern Miss.
And with that being said, this building lead on the top and bot side will be able to utilize the pushing power of the grubs. That is all 6 grubs currently available for the Hornets side. And with this gold lead, as soon as they touch those towers, they will melt. And honestly, I think that's going to be on Kangaroo Feet, right? Where do you want to help out? Top side's down to about 2.5 plates. Pretty easy there. Mid lane hasn't really been touched, same as bot lane. But you could go to one lane and have a blast. Pet Napper, though, said, please, maybe my lane has to flash away from the roof.
And we've seen both mid laners now burn flashes to get away from ganks, and props to them for not really getting caught even with the flashes down. I would love to see the junglers kind of revisit that mid lane and really punish that, especially from the side of Haddle. Okay, I was wondering if we were going to see a gank from Kangaroo Feet there. The Cataclysm was up, Equalizer just came up as well, but it looks like they're setting up for dragons instead.
Yeah, the Dragon is going to be that main pinch because the Eagles have been fighting for a tooth and nail the entire time, and that's really where Young Talent got 2 of those kills, is a little bit of extra help there, or 1 of those, I think. This time around, though, this pinch is way scarier, right? They're currently being funneled into this tri-bush, which is so dangerous. You know this combination's there. Dragon does reset a little bit. Allen
TP?
watching as the TP is called in for the Eagles, and now they're going to try and fight, but a good kick
Kevin's
back.
coming too?
Kangaroo actually loses that combination, and Sarko is in for the fight. This is a 4v5, now turn 5v5, but the Dragon's already taken, and now they're going to follow up. Pet Napper into the back line, but all the burst has been done, and Jinx is free firing. Yes, the deaths come through, but look at Young Talent. Young Talent wants the excitement, and they do. Sarko baiting it out so well. Look how long he is hanging everyone on, and Eagles are slowly melting away. It is perfect as it comes out. A 3-for-3. Young Talent wants a little bit more. No rocket, no autos that can take it, and it's there. A perfect final rocket takes it away, and Eagles get Dragon in 4.
And critically, Orbital, Dragon was picked up by Haddle, yet again able to secure that one. So not only do they win the team fight on Southern Mist, but they also get that Dragon stacking. Young Talon gets to sit in this bot lane, soak up that extra EXP, and potentially get first turret as well. Everything, Orbital, everything just snowballed their way.
It feels so good. And take a look. My eyes being drawn towards that bot side. We mentioned it, right?
Jeez.
The Hornets' attempt is going to be in the bot side trying to shut down Young Talent. And they did their best. Don't get me wrong. They did their best.
Yeah.
But come on. You are now at 7K. This Jinx is starting to become a threat.
Yeah, and with the front line that Sarko and Haddle are just giving Young Talent, it's so comfortable to just stand there and auto attack topside. We are seeing a bit of a contest come through, but I think the big team fight ultimates are not available for either of these teams, really. So it's going to come down to sort of basic abilities and skirmishing.
I think that almost might lend itself to the side of the Hornets as Young Talent isn't really there. So
Sure.
you're good. You get the Herald, you're okay. You walk away, and this should help the Hornets be able to open up a little bit more. Shenandoah still waiting for their chance to take down one of these towers, really find a way to kind of put Kangaroo Feet and the rest of the team into enemy territory.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting overall. I think about it, that Ole Miss was, Southern Miss, pardon me, was the first team to pick up a turret, despite the fact that all the Void Grubs, and now even Void Herald, has actually gone the way of Shenandoah as well. So, you know, we'll see if they're able to continue that, to have that continue going their way, and whether, you know, Shenandoah is able to crack something, because the mid lane turret is super healthy, and that's normally the turret you really want to use that Herald on.
This is now the chance, though. A little bit of a combination as Young Talent is getting ruined up. They know there are no summoner spells, but the trade out is too good. Are you kidding me? A 2v3 and you bring it back. Young Talent might have just given the rest of the team an in to get more kills, but you don't. Still, though, Young Talent bringing out the massive talent.
Infinity Edge also now completed for Young Talent. Yeah, this Jinx is going to be a problem, bro. That was the best catch you could hope for. Normally, we saw in the last fight, Sarko and Haddle put up such a massive front line, you can't even touch the Jinx. That time, you're finally able to isolate the Jinx. Great Cataclysm from Kangaroo Feet to start things off. And even then, even in that situation, Jinx trades back 1-1. Yeah, for Shenandoah, that is troubling. And I think it also is indicative of how these fights need to go. You need to kind of catch out the Jinx isolated. And more than importantly, you also need to make sure Creighton is not eating damage the entire time. It's got to be somebody else threatening this Jinx rather than Smolder.
And I am praying it's someone whose name starts with a K and ends with a T. I want Kangaroo Feet right in the mix and getting the multiple knockouts, not just one. Well, you only really got one. But then follow it up. Maybe watch as Pet Napper is also able to get into the mix. At this current point, though, that 13-7 scoreline is a little bit of a lie, right? As much as you might want to feel it in your head, it's not fully there. With that, now Hornets, though, they are starting to rotate a little bit up. This has been Ether trying to bring a little bit of a jump into the rest of the lanes, and clearing out the wards on top side might give them that chance. Sarko has not exactly had a super explosive time. You actually went, I believe, I keep forgetting that item name, but it's the MR shielding item.
The
just to
Kanik
try and deal with
Rooker.
way awesome
completely made
Kevin.
up
So
words.
yeah, it's just it's able to sustain. By the way, I hate that item, but it's way awesome Kevin. It's chilling though. Leandri is able to chew through. You get a tower for yourself, and now you are unleashed. Just in time for Dragon.
It already got nerfed this patch overall, and it's still such a strong item, especially into mage type champions, or especially something like a tank like Maokai, who's not already known for the damage. It's so difficult for Kevin to do anything meaningful. Death Bush setup. Ether doesn't know.
You do not. This is a problem, and Ether's going to walk in. How well does this play out? You flash away. In comes Mom to help, but very little damage. TP coming in on the enemy side at the time. And Kangaroo Feet is going to try and jump in, but no one else is there to follow. You have to ult. You have to try. The hotbot doesn't work. Instead, you're denied. Jungle Allen gets a 3-man knock, but that's enough to let young talent rip. Let the talent fly. An A-list tier body is coming out of here. A final zap isn't going to land, but Hornets are falling apart. Eagles swoop in. They have a singular prey, and they are locked on.
And most notably, Orbital, the equalizer did not catch young talent. It failed to do as it's labeled. It did not equalize the fight. You caught Allen, but Allen, the moment Allen landed the Pop Blossom on multiple targets, that's Nico's job done. After that, it's all on Jinx to play it clean up. So once again, at a critical dragon fight, it just feels like Southern Miss, they get a buff around this bot side of the map. They have been on lock, and now they are threatening a Mountain Soul, which will undo a lot of that burst damage that Pet Napper was supposed to bring to the table.
I am terrified. This composition of the Eagles is unfolding before our eyes of just what it is on paper, right? If you ever play this style of this is like as cut and dry as it can get. You're free. Like that's it, right? Like their game plan, they wrote out the script. They said, let's execute the script. Everyone's falling in. Yes, you could say the tempering of the early game might be a questionable mark. Still doing okay. At this point, we can already see the Hornets trying to lie in wait and get a sting on. Unfortunately, I don't know who you're going to try and sting because everyone's fairly okay. Gonna sweep out a ward. Baron kind of looked at.
I mean, you've got Smolder on your team, you've always got a chance to roll. It's 225 stacks. That's the magic number where things start to get really, really complicated. Because at that point, I believe it's either 7 or 8% health threshold execution, and Smolder will continue to scale up as the game goes on. So, yeah, I think for the side of Shenandoah, they're not out by any means. And also, we look at the gold orbital, they're pretty much dead even. For all that Southern Miss has been winning out the most recent fights, Shenandoah had a beautiful early game. Their teamwork really shone through, and Kangaroo Feet got some great ganks off. Pet Napper got some great early rotation. So I'm not quite hitting the alarm bells just yet. But losing Soul Orbital, that might make me reconsider.
I mean, it's also a Mountain Soul, right? You're just like, oh gosh, now you get an extra shield, extra MR armor, and it's just like, bro, like, please stop giving this. It's always interesting as well. I feel like the dragons that do come out, I swear they have a way of knowing where the game state is and how it's going to influence the rest of the game. It's so much fun to see a dragon that will expressly be annoying to one side or the other, right? Like, just very clearly. So, excited to see what happens right now, though. Everyone's kind of going back to farming. That dragon's not up for another 2.5 minutes, and I mean, right now, it is just that, what can we get? Can we get this little thing? If we can, great. No major moves being made on either side.
Yeah, we're not seeing any team really group up, trying to overload one side of the map or the other. I think both teams are fine with scaling up because both their bot lanes are massively scaling champions. Kevin just getting
down a little. What a Q. That was a random Q, by the way. Yeah, hey, threw that randomly. It was like you weren't trying to buckle that Maokai, and you did, and you got a flash. Like, that's perfect. And now you can see this 4-player push by the side of Eagles. They had warded up a majority share of that Baron pit, which I neglected to see, and I mean, it's completely warded out. This Scry is the only vision that the Hornets have in there, and it's really quite scary. So for the Eagles, you actually do have a point that you could rotate to. It just doesn't feel like it's a majority share of what they have to do right now.
Yeah, and I don't think Southern Miss wants to risk the Baron at this point on patch 14 or season 14. Pardon me. Baron got buffed, so it's quite a bit harder to take. And when you're this close to each other, there's no need to risk the potential throw at the Baron. You just kind of need to wait for the dragons. That was the win con. The moment you start stacking them, that still remains the win con. If anything, in Shenandoah, I think that might want to consider rushing that down. You don't really have the comp for it. Sure, you've got a Leandries on Pet Napper, so it burns quickly, but we mentioned before, Creighton, not necessarily an auto attack based champion on this one.
Nope, it's a very... I know a lot of people are just like, this is specific. I equate it to Corki at points. It's just like, you want to Q, you want to hit these abilities, and that's what gives you the main chunk of your damage. The auto attacks itself don't really hold steady, right? Like, if you're auto attacking only with Smolder, things may have gone a little bit awry. Right now, though, Kangaroo Feet having a bit of a question, dive into the back line, and it's a bit of a problem here as you just died. There's not a chance to be had as Haddle is now going to rebuttal, and Owlin TPing right in the mid. Get the double knock up again, and the rocket on the back line. It's an easy cleanup for the Eagles. They swoop in and take their prey, and it's 4 dead in an instant.
And it looked like Southern Miss was just waiting for Dragon to spawn. Orbital, they can go straight for Baron now if they want. There's no contest. Shenandoah's jungler is down. They've got nobody to stop this. And once again, Orbital, on that fight, Equalizer comes down. Young Talent doesn't die, doesn't even really burn. And if you're not taking out Young Talent, you're not winning these fights.
Young Talent has amassed a ridiculous amount of gold. First one to clear 11,000, going on 12. Not even another person inside. This is Max Verstappen levels of gapping here. This is ridiculous right now. Way awesome. Kevin gonna give it their best shot, but I mean, how else are you gonna do this? This Dragon is just gone.
Yeah, and you can't really contest. If anything, I think for Shenandoah, you're kind of happy that the Baron didn't go down there, because I really do believe that with the lead Southern Miss had, they could have taken Baron and also still defended Dragon long enough and then actually full-on team fought Shenandoah. So on one hand, good they didn't lose Baron. On the other hand, kind of bad that you're playing into a Mountain Soul team now when you're already struggling to cut through this front line, through these massive tanks of Sarko and Haddle.
I also want to see the items, because we can look at the gold all day long, but it's like, what does it actually mean to champions, right? What does this actually mean to certain scenarios? And right now, I for sure know Young Talent is about 3.5. Yeah, but I thought about it. I was like 3.5 right there. And you have full strength. Like, that is the thing. We talk about gold leads. Some people don't know what we're saying. This is why. You are going to decimate everyone we saw before. It's going to get even worse. Right now, this Baron is being started up. Young Talent can literally zone out a jungler on your own. Look at that. 3 shots. That is your front line engaged. That is gone. Right now, you are hunting for a steal. There is no vision of work. All you're hoping is to see everyone fade up. Honestly, it's surprising that the Eagles are not actually going for this. They had to run away, and instead 2 towers fall in time. But the Hornets, they stop the Baron and get a decent influx of gold back, and also pressure in the mid.
Yeah, they have first move advantage. They've got Prio on this, but Kangaroo Feet is really low on health.
Oh, this is going to be dangerous. Kangaroo gets out and leads everyone else to danger. Oh, this is problematic. Playoffs, and Kevin is able to stay in front line, but those ults are only used to slow them down. Eagles say you will not deny our jinx. We want more. A flash forward, another tether, and the tree is burned. Keep running. You got more than enough for your dead, but a bigger prize is on the horizon.
Yeah, we went from Baron being the focus orbital to the huge team fight, the turrets being the focus. And you know what? I want to laud Shenandoah for that particular play. Smart of them, well played from them. They got the turrets, they got a whole influx of objective bounties, and they thought they could go for more. Unfortunately, the big thing holding back Southern Miss on that initial Baron engage was a lack of vision orbital. And the moment Shenandoah chose to push up mid lane, there was full vision on them. The minions showed where they were. The turret showed where they were. And that's when Southern Miss felt very, very comfortable saying, hey, now we know where everybody is. We can make sure Young Talent can approach from an angle they're not going to get caught at. And more importantly, we can get the flank on and make sure we catch all of them with those rockets that just keep exploding. So really well played from Southern Miss. And now with Soul in pocket, with Baron in pocket, it's time for them to start breaking into that base.
Yeah, this is actually the point in time where we look at Eagles with their leads, with all that they have, and say, if you are not able to start closing out, we actually get worried, right? This is something that we talk about with teams specifically. You need to know how to close out when you have a comfortable and healthy lead. You need to know how to win fights. And we don't mean just like win a team fight and then push down mid. We want to see the manufacturing of pressure on the opponent. We want to see this type of control over the game where your opponent feels like they have no moves or options left. And the only option is almost just to watch their base crumble. At the current moment, we are seeing the Jinx actually head up topside with only 1 in mid. So it looks like they are trying to get all 3 lanes rolling. And that way they can all kind of crash it in for the last, I want to say, about 1.5 minutes of Baron.
And they can afford to do this because they're so strong overall. It becomes a sort of 1-3-1 split push. And specifically with a focus between that sort of top and mid lane, where they can get the vision down, they can try and catch Shenandoah in rotation. Unfortunately, I don't know if they actually have enough wards to get the proper coverage they need. Do they see Ether and Kangaroo Feet there? They see Kangaroo Feet now. Okay.
I mean, it's a slow rotate, and Eagles just have to kind of like walk away, so they're not like overly worried. It's just kind of funny to see there. Allen, meanwhile, taking up that mid lane tower, and now just right back to it, right?
Okay,
That is now 2 towers, pretty dang worth Baron so far. How much more are you going to lose? Sarko still on the bot side. Now as Zap catches Pet Napper, Pet Napper doesn't have flash. You kind of have to hold it, and that's a chopper. That's going to be Pet Napper down. There's not a chance. A Final Market takes it, but now that's going to be the burn. Take a look at how low Gahe is. That's going to assassination in the back line. Kangaroo Feet, though, will sacrifice their own life, and now Haddle's on the wrong side of the map, but don't worry, your team will open up a space for you. It falls, but Haddle has to clear towards that bot side. You don't have flash. You're going to try and walk away, and now you're caught under the mid lane, but you're just buying time. It doesn't matter how long Haddle takes to die, because you have lost too much Hornets. Realizing the big Hornet is coming in, and they are drawn up, but look at that. A single pop up means that down goes awesome Kevin. Kevin is going to get denied to knock back at the tried. It's 1,000 gold shut down, thankfully, but a little bit too little, too late. Sarko, having taken care of the last inner tower, is going to be good, but in comes Creighton. Creighton burning them all where they stand. It's a minimal win back, but one that denies possibly Nexus Towers going down.
No shot. Overall, this brings a tear to my eye watching Smolder all grown up. You're seeing that little gray bar. That's the execution threshold, and bottom left there you can see 302 stacks. So that would be 8%, 9%, or 8. Yeah, I believe it's 8%. 9% threshold. Thank you.
Don't do math. Don't do math on air, guys.
It doesn't work. Yep. So 9% threshold has been hit, and you can see now that you got to respect that. That's when Creighton's really starting to do damage. Southern Miss were okay till they start diving those turrets, and right now they need those turrets. Give Shenandoah a bit more time. Give them a couple more bounties going their way. Heck, give them an Elder, and suddenly they don't need those turrets anymore to win those fights.
Oh man, well, this is gonna be the big test, right? Double up on the execution, and maybe you got some help, but you are blind. You have no idea what Eagles are. This is a Desperation Elder if I've ever seen one. Right now, Way Awesome Kevin is in the top side saying, hey, I'm gonna try and help. Haddle is gonna look for a smite fight. Who's gonna get it? The hotbot goes down. Who gets the smite? It's there, Dolan! Are you kidding me? Haddle, the captain of the team, said, let's go ahead and take everything. Not a single dragon given over. Void grubs do not matter. Eagles hunting for the finish.
This bot side just cracked, and we were just talking so much about Smolder, and they're a little bit of a buff with the execution. Well, Elder does that, but more overall. And now Sarko just brute forcing these turrets. They can't do anything to him. Where's Creighton? If Creighton's not here, Sarko's not going down.
Nope, not a chance. And even then, look at that. It barely did any damage. Creighton's trying. Look at that. Trying everything in the back pocket, but it's just not going to work. Yes, that is going to be a death charge, but it is only giving option for Creighton to get sniped. The true Elder Dragon, the OG Dragon Execute, will win the Eagles their first game.
Props out as well, actually diving into turret.
And we're into game here. Okay, the draft has shifted a little bit. RMC, like, what are we looking at? Some old, some new.
Okay, let's start with Shenandoah since they are blue side. The only returning pick is the J4, and everything else has changed up a lot. I like the Ashe Seraphine a lot considering what happened last game. Hey, there we go. There's the fist bump. Crane will have a lot more impact early, and Ashe is actually a fairly lane-dominant AD carry, especially when there's not a hook threat or some sort of hard engage on the other side. And against a Sona Jinx, you're going to get a lot of free poke. They're very, very squishy. In terms of the top side, we talked about Kevin playing carries. Well, Gangplank is a massive carry. Now, Gangplank does struggle in lane a little bit, especially into top laners who can dive them and sort of ignore a lot of the poke that comes out. So if Kevin can survive, I'm liking this top side a lot more from Shenandoah. They've got a lot more skill, a lot of poke, and a lot of disengage until they want to go in, and then we look at Kangaroo Feet. As for the side of Southern Miss, they've run a very similar composition in terms of ideas of what they want to do as last game. I like that Haddle has gone for the Poppy instead. We said that he was great on disengage and creating space. Poppy's doubling down on that compared to Xin Zhao. And Young Talon back on the Jinx again with shields, with heals, with a lot of protection, a lot of peel. Yeah, Southern Miss feels like they've doubled down on that sort of Jinx AD carry strategy.
I mean, I would even say triple down. We actually see, I think that's a little bit of a farming tool in the back pocket for young talent. This is it's very. I don't want to say it's disrespectful because it's not. Like, you understand the matchup, you understand what's coming down, but it does feel like you know that you think you can win, and that's not going to happen this time. Hey, getting eaten up here, you flash away, but I think this might be a flash follow. No, just a ghost Creighton picks it up, and this time around, it's not just a burn of one Summoner Spell, it's everything. Creighton coming in, one more outside could do it, and you pick it up, it's a double kill, and Creighton wins! Haddle can't do anything, and this is something that we expected? No way! No way! Are we gonna get it? It is! To start the game, it is Creighton with a triple!
Okay, Oh no, I know I said Ashe is a bit of lane dominant, a bit of a lane bully. Ashe has just become a early game wrecking ball right now. Creighton 3 kills in pocket. And you know what, overall, the call for young talent, I like the idea. You were playing for skill, you were playing for lane. But that call is going to be a problem now that you're laning against Creighton with 3 kills under his belt. Once Creighton goes back to base, this bot lane is going to be nightmare fuel for Southern Miss.
And it's going to get worse, right? Haddle now getting invaded. This is one of the problems that is going to come down. Because Haddle died and lost blue buff, your clear is way slower now. I don't think it's immensely, right? Like, auto attacks are so good and everything, but it still hurts. And that gives Kangaroo Feet the ability to do this once again, influencing the early lanes. Might even look towards that bot lane who are fresh out of summer spells.
Yeah, I'd love to see that happen. We mentioned last game we saw a lot of flashes burnt, but we didn't see a lot of the repeat ganks to take advantage of that. And especially with a champion like J4, it's so easy. Those are basic abilities that set you up for a lot of these ganks. Just a bit of trading happening in the mid lane. I just want to touch on Karma a little bit. She did get nerfed, but it's mostly to her scaling. So her early game strength and dominance is still there. That one item power spike of Malignance will still be incredibly strong for Pet now.
It feels good, though, because if you are running a little bit more on the supportish end, you know, the Karma is, as you said, not meant to be lane dominant. You want a strong NEC. Like, that's the bottom line of it, right? Like, you want strong other laners, you want the power. And I think that is why we see that gameplay on the top side. Needless to say, though, Creighton's like, bro, let's get started. Let's have a blast, right? And this is that combination again. Young talent underneath your tower is already half health. That Haddle may not really get that much help. However, the zap is going to work wonders. Creighton is now taking quite low, and you're still going to trade it out, and you live for quite a bit longer. Ether picks that one up, but I mean, share the wealth a little bit. Ether now going to look for another chance. If you get a speed up or a jump in, that's the knockup that you need. Now pinned against the wall, just outside of tower range. Are you kidding me? Tower, please? Kangaroo Feet should have been dead there from the tower range, but you survive, and instead, it's still a 2-for-1.
Yeah, I always thought of Kangaroo Feet as being like more like weapons. You know, they're big, they're hefty. You hear about kangaroos kicking people and people like basically dying from it. Yeah, apparently they're fancy feet too, because Kangaroo Feet just dancing outside, not getting hit by turret, or well, did after, but the initial stun, that portion played perfectly fine, just barely tagging Gahe and Haddle with the tip of that flag and drag as well. Just everything coming up Shenandoah's way. And this bot lane, we mentioned before, first back was going to go from bad to worse. Now we're going from worse to even worse because Agility Cloak picked up. I'm going to be honest, I hate crit chance. I think it's kind of random. If it procs, that lane's done.
Oh, it is. And now on the top side, we're seeing a little bit of distance as well. Way awesome Kevin trying to jump on Sarko. And this is not the second time I believe we've seen Kevin in a position of power over the Cassante. The second time that we've also seen in this series that Haddle has to kind of come up and do damage control. So just a little bit worse. Good heal coming out here as Kevin is pretty much just baiting to keep Haddle and Sarko here for an extended period of time.
Yeah, there's a reason why there's an old meme that, you know, Gangplank eats everything and he took oranges and he's okay. Same thing right there. He was baiting the entire time, trying to get Haddle to overextend a little bit, commit fully, maybe go into turret, and you saw that heal that came through. Absolutely massive. So right now, Shenandoah winning in every lane. And Orbital, if you're a Southern Miss fan, I've got some bad news for you. Because that skilling isn't going away. Sure, Ashe isn't as big a skiller as Jinx, but she's still really, really strong, and she's so far ahead. Gangplank will skill immensely.
Oh man! And, I mean, you're talking about scaling. That's the fastest way to do it. And easy 2 kills picked up once again.
Yeah, that was great team coordination to come through. By the way, Kevin didn't need to ult there. I want to make this very, very clear.
Absolutely not, by the way.
No, yeah, that's a team call coming through and saying, hey, let's get our GP rolling. Let's get this Gangplank off the ground. Kevin, I'm gifting you this one. Take it. And because of that, Kevin already winning the lane is going to further accelerate. While all that was happening, Orbital off screen, Kangaroo Feet took first Dragon as well. And I want to highlight this because I've said this before. I think Ocean Soul is one of the most powerful Ocean Dragon, pardon me, is one of the most powerful dragons you can pick up in the early game. It gives you additional regeneration, and that matters most in the laning phase when you're not going home, when you're not got these constant big team fights. You're mostly just kind of poking and doing little trades. Shenandoah is going to win that over time just from that dragon alone.
Yeah, it's one of those that the earlier you get it on, the better, right? Like, you gain way more value first dragon than it is second dragon, right? Because by the time second dragon rolls around, you're about, what, 14 minutes into the game or so? You're already, you know, everything's kind of breaking down. So, it's an idea. However, the main shift for me, it's not just that you pick up the dragon, it's the fact that you don't let Eagles fight for it, right? Eagles, the main reason why they got so strong in game number 1 is they gave up grubs quite heavily and they hard focused on the bot lane. Now, granted, that was also young talent being, I want to say decently well off. This time doesn't have it, but to be able to deny the global objectives that you were not able to in game number 1 has to be a nice confidence booster, as Creighton is going to be that sacrificial lamb for how much was gained on the rest of the map.
Now, are they going to be able to answer on Allen? Allen does not actually have flash. It's just coming off cooldown, but Allen able to just kind of speed walk away. And overall, for all that we talk about, you know, what would happen, the Void Grubs were taken by Shenandoah, Ether actually roamed up to take that. And great response from Southern Miss. Haddle just went, oh, wait, we know that either the support is not there. We can 3-man this bot lane, dive, secure the kill, get a bunch of plates, and try and close that gap for young talent as quickly as we can.
I mean, it also gives a lot of free time to get that coal, right? The coal that we said was a detriment at the beginning, just like, quickly, power through that, get that as fast as possible. Please get that. And, okay. All right. Eagles are having a bit too much, fighting outside of line of view. Great kill on the top side, forced Sarko to get control.
Yeah, and now Southern Miss is punching back. Although we said it's really hard for them. Scaling will not necessarily favor them with how these compositions operate. So seeing them be so proactive now is great. Haddle.
Oh, please get the stun. There it is. And the easy pickup in the mid lane. Pet Napper didn't even have a chance to flash.
Yeah, if you're Pet Napper right there, the moment that flash came over the wall, you had to flash in response. And the window is so small. So great play from Haddle. The play bot and now into mid as well. This team captain is dragging his team forward, really taking up that leader mantle, saying, hey, the buck stops here. I will help all of you get right back into it. And the goal difference now overall less than 1,000.
It's also another part of learning how to fight from behind, right? There are there were tales in the past, right, in the competitive scene. I think when it was coming around, that it was actually quite difficult to learn how to play from behind, because if you're scrimming or anything like that, right, it's like what was it? People always like kind of surrender, like, okay, we messed up kind of thing. So for a team to learn how to fight back from early deficits is a very strong skill to have that I would personally say is quite difficult to cultivate. So if we get to see more, that's great. However, this is not one of those ways to do it, as you step up a little bit too far on the Eagle side and forget that there's a global ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, even though technically Shenandoah was ahead, I'd argue they were starting to feel like they're slipping behind. So that's, in a way, how they're coming back. And we get to see the gold differentials. And we mentioned it's only about 1,000 gold difference. Most of that's still sitting in this bot lane. So almost everywhere else is equal, despite the fact Kevin kind of got the early pressure onto Sarko. Sarko equalized the kill. And that does mean, as long as Southern Miss can isolate this 2v2 in the bot lane, they're not actually that far behind everywhere else. Haddle is still equally strong, ganking everywhere.
Oh, please. Please, this is 40 seconds in the making, and they got the stun against the wall, but the ult may not be enough. That's a double knockup in, and you do pick up the kills. Young Talon gets one. You get the speed up, and now Jalen is coming down to help. The wash is happening again, RMC. It's happening.
Oh, but we were just talking about localizing the gold differential, and I was talking like Southern Miss just needed to survive. I was wrong. I am sorry, Southern Miss. I did not recognize your game, because they just went 3v3 on that bot side and wanted great recognition of power spikes. Young Talent just picked up the Kraken Slayer, and that's a bit of that equalizing, right? At that point, Creighton didn't have the sheep, so they were pretty much even except for the Zerker's Greaves, the boots, and Young Talent was able to punish with that. And with that overall, I still think that Creighton has a bit of a lead in this bot side, but it's not significant anymore. It's very easily answerable.
This is also a lesson to anyone ever runs a sweeper. Sweep everywhere your jungler is currently sitting. That ward was there for a good 40 seconds. Like, sweep. Please, it's not that hard. That being said, I wonder if that's still what happened. Either way, this dragon is now being taken away, and it's going to be held. This is now Eagles getting back into it, and now you get the excitement. Good double root, though. Kangaroo feet wants out, but a good knock at Steadfast Presence, and then into the wall. Stun, Rocket to finish it up, and it's done. It's just that easy. Pet Napper now on the wrong side of the map, has to run away, as Hespe gets in the back pocket, and Allen can't really contest, but Hornets, they felt like they got a little bit desperate. Shockwave lands on 2 just to disengage, and Eagles get away with Dragon and a kill.
Yeah, really well played from Southern Miss. Once again, that.
Okay,
what happened
Sarko.
up top? Okay.
We can't show you that. The top lane is supposed to be known as a non-aggressive lane that no one ever visits. We're not supposed to talk about the danger that comes out. Young Talent trying to dodge everything, though, but you can't run away from it all. It's just an overload of ability checks.
Okay, props to Young Talent for the fast feet to dodge most of the initial fight, but or the initial CC, but huge props to Creighton Ether as well. The way they were layering their CC meant that no matter how good you are at dodging, you can't dodge all of it. Now just picking up the blue buff and moving back to the mid lane. But let's talk about top for a quick second here. Because, yeah, it's kind of cool that they're trading and they're being active. It's not a wet noodle fight up there between two tanks. But it does favor Shenandoah if you're trading one for one. We mentioned before, GP scales better. He was designed as a scaling champion in the first place. His Cannon Barrage, we'll get a couple of different options and things like that. And more importantly, the damage that's going to come through from Gangplank once they leave lane. It doesn't really hurt Sarko that much right now, but imagine a barrel hitting Allen, Young Talent, Gahe. Sona is known and notorious as one of the squishiest champions in the game. I'm a minion. I'm a caster minion, Orbital. Sona, her health bar is on my level.
That's unfortunately fair. It's just a little bit apart. And also, by the way, I would like to side note because I'm so excited. Way Awesome Kevin has built one of the funniest items that you ever could. First, we love it. RMC, if you like to take it away, I feel like this would be straight for you right there. No, I can't even talk about that. No, bot lane. I didn't see the HP bars. I'm so sorry. Bot lane getting destroyed because Way Awesome Kevin wanted to make the statue more glorious. It's going to be 2 layers on the bot lane. Meanwhile, on the top side, Sarko now not in a 1v1 anymore. It's going to be a 1v2. It's going to be a little bit of a cataclysm to try to hold him in. But look at the damage. It's just so easy. Sarko slaughters them and brings Kangaroo in for a little bit more. This is the Frozen Gauntlet only. 2 died twice, and he died back in! The tower trying to do work, but Sarko's still alive. Needless to say, bot lane fell the way of Shenandoah.
Cassante just doing Cassante things. Oh
my gosh.
It don't stop,
this time
Orbital.
Pet Napper was able to flash away. You were talking about that skill, talking about how to get away from the likes of a Poppy. That's how you do it.
Okay. Maybe now it stops. I don't know. This stops still looks really dicey to me. But mid-lane, Pet Napper not caught napping this time. Great learning from the last time, recognizing they have Haddle flashes in. Just flash out. It's the safer play to make. And
oh, there it is.
There we go. The statues you see on either side near the top along the wall, they look kind of bronze right now, but it will get better. That's Hubris. That's the item that Kevin built. That is a lethality item, and it's sick because the more...
Can we zoom in? Yes, zoom in.
Oh.
Yeah! I've never actually seen these up close, by the way. I'm so sorry. I really want to see those. That looks so good. Okay, we can go back. We can go back. Thank you, Observer, by the way.
Okay,
Huge shout out to our production crew, Brady and Adam, for being so awesome.
And I think there is a bit of a skirmish happening around this Herald Pit. Are they going to engage? No. They've backed off for now. So we'll quickly touch on Hubris. Hubris basically a scaling item. Every time you get a kill, you gain another statue. And all those statues, each of them gives you a small amount of AD, physical damage. So it's not great initially, but it will scale up. Young Talent getting caught.
Oh, flashes into the arrow, but the rest of the team's there to help out. The rest of the team is ready to help out, and then some. After trying to get onto Young Talent, but Young Talent has a safety again. The battery is just too good. Gahe gets a well-earned 3rd kill, and that's going to be dubs for the Eagles.
The heals, the shields, Orbital. Young Talent might have looked like he was down to 20%, but he had so much extra health in the back, and Creighton unfortunately now left alone trying to hold this 1v3. I don't think there's any... Well, there's a shockwave. If the shockwave hits, then Creighton might go down. So Creighton has to stand really far back and just wave clear through volleys. And because of that, outer turret does go down, and that means Shenandoah loses pressure on this hero.
Yeah, they lose pressure on Hill, but take a look at where they're gaining pressure. Right now, Way Awesome Kevin has really not been on your screen influencing thanks to that R skill, but it's been the push and shove. You take a look, that is now the 2nd tower that they've been able to take on the bot side pretty much on their own and not get punished for it. That is a big dub in the pocket of Shenandoah to start opening up this map, because that's not just 2 towers on the bot side. That's the only 2 towers they've gotten, and they open up that bottom side of the map to ensure that maybe they have a little bit more space to work with for the upcoming dragon.
Yeah, and the long lanes are interesting right now, bro, because I actually don't think it favors Shenandoah, ironically. Later on in the game, it certainly will. But right now, we just saw Sarko handle a 1v2 against Kevin and Kangaroo Feed, which means you can always chuck Sarko in that super long lane, and it's going to take 3 members, potentially, to take him down. So I'd love to see Southern Mist kind of rotate down, but for now, they can't, because Dragon's up, and both teams want this. So they're sending all the bodies towards this objective. Vision is kind of patchy, favors Shenandoah just because of that pink ward right now.
And that's going to be more than enough, I think. All you really need is vision. You want Creighton to land that amazing arrow on someone. And it looks like they're actually going to give it up. So Eagles are saying, look, we can't really contest to go in. Instead, we're going to get those towers back. And this might actually cost Hornets quite a bit. They're not taking this dragon as fast as they wish. Take a look at the Rocket, taking it down to about 200. But look, the shove is there. Are they going to go for 2? That is a very real option right now. They're going to try and block it off. It's still going to land the shot, but they're not going to be able to follow up behind. So about a third of the HP of that inhibitor tower is down.
Yeah, and minor point, but one that I would like to highlight is that Haddo actually drove the Herald for both those charges. Please do that in your games, because you get additional damage if somebody's actually driving compared to the autopilot. So, yeah, good on the side of Southern Mist. The push in as well. I kind of like it because Dragon is important, and the teams have been focusing Dragon a lot, but it's only second Drake for either of these teams. I think taking down that inner turret in the mid lane gives Southern Mist so much more control over that mid lane. Now, if Shenandoah wants to go towards either objectives, they won't have the minion wave with them. It'll always be stopped in the middle of the lane, whereas if Southern Mist can push that lane out, then suddenly a good third of the map becomes dark for Shenandoah. They need wards, or they need to use the hawk shot from Creighton in order to gain that vision that otherwise minions would have given. Oh my goodness!
Alan's getting the Gangplank treatment right now. However, a good flash out means that you might be safe, but that is the cannon barrage just too easily. A final Q to the face. You live with just a minute, but Kangaroo Feet is going to pick it. Help out routing. Way awesome Kevin. Throwing down what a true Gangplank does. I think that's another statue, isn't that?
Yep. I'm pretty sure that's not 21 statues, but still, you know, that's probably the 80.
There it is.
There we go. There's the upgrade.
This is the part. I love it. Okay, yes, you are correct. That's actually, I think, like the extra AD or something. It shows the full stack, but this is what happens. The statue will actually basically be polished by every kill. It is so cool. I think this is a silver right now, so you work your way up the actual ranking tiers as well. Sorry, it's such a funny item that they added for absolutely no reason in the game, and I love it. Pet Napper, though, might be another one on the chopping block. We can't even show you that amount of death because Sarko grabs their fourth, 4-1 and 0 now. And Sarko, we talked about the difference between Way Awesome Kevin getting kills and Sarko getting kills. Sarko is starting to get to that point where it will start influencing these team fights.
Yeah, no, bro, that's the last 2 kills we've just seen kind of illustrate why I was talking about Sarko split pushing, why I wanted to see Sarko rotated to the long lane, because unfortunately for Jungle Allen, you're not safe in trying to handle the 1v1. Even Pet Napper at this point, granted, Karma did get nerfed, but she can hold the lane against you. We saw Kevin win the lane against you, and certainly if Creighton Ether show up down bot, they will absolutely kill you 2v1, whereas that's not the case with Sarko. So I do really feel like Southern Mist need to take advantage of the strength that Sarko has if you're still looking to split push. Alternatively, we've already seen Southern Mist fight back quite a few times in the team fights, and heck, they're up gold right now partially because they've been able to answer team fights. So they could start looking to group up and force death balls. Against Kevin, it gets a little bit risky with the wave, with the barrels potentially hitting the back line. Right. But Kevin hasn't been with the team, so whoever groups up first should win that first fight.
You're really only looking for residual damage from Way Ops and Kevin. So it's the, okay, Cannon Barrage came in behind. Right now, though, Hornets are trying to get information, and Ether getting caught out here. Great punch against the wall. Haddle ensuring that Young Talent will get some damage down, but now Hay is actually in a dangerous spot, and that's just almost going to be a kill. You flash in, so it's a 2-piece, but Young Talent over the wall said, I am the talented one. However, ADC on ADC, both get traded out. That's a win for the Eagles again. They are okay with this. Young Talent did their job, and the Hornets realize they're on the wrong side of the map. What a strike from the Eagles side.
Is that over? I call that as a win for the Hornets. I think Creighton trading for Young Talent. Okay, Creighton trading for Young Talent.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
1 for 1. I take Shenandoah, but they got Ether as well. 2 for 1 special. Now that's worth. And the reason why is because Kevin in that top side. You're seeing already Kevin on the retreat is doing so much poke damage, and because of that, Southern Mist can't actually go for Baron despite having the numbers advantage there. And look at what Kevin's doing right here.
Oh, Kevin is just trying to have fun. However, you don't get the final Q off, so the Orianna does live. Haddle now on the chopping block might be able to help out. Hey, now battering up this helpful Haddle, and Sarko wants in as well. Remember, they don't really have summoner spells. They expended all the previous fights, so this means this is going to be a kill. Encore goes across, but really it only slows them down because guess who's back in the fight? Guess who's back to duke it out? And Sarko is not fighting another ADC. You're fighting the Sarko Kasance secondary fight on the run as the Eagles swoop in for extra kills. RMC, they heard you. They heard that you said it wasn't worth. They said, is it worth now?
And it's just that easy when you've got Sarko. Orbital, it doesn't matter who's back because Sarko never left. And Sarko right now just can't be dealt with. Creighton with a Kraken Slayer and Blade of the Ruin King, by the way. Both items which are normally great at tank busting could not take out Sarko. And Sarko didn't even have ghosts, just ran at Creighton and ran Creighton right over. And because of that, Southern Miss, Dragons up. Last time they seeded it for that pressure in the mid lane. Now they're reaping the rewards with that patient play earlier. This will be uncontested in Shenandoah.
I would also like to point out in the current patch notes, I believe they are looking at buffing Kasante's W, where it goes from like, what, 50% extra armor magic resist when you're in it to 85%. I'm like half crying because how long can you basically withstand? Like, that is such an awesome glimpse. You mentioned it, right? Crane is literally building to try and cut through Sarko, and you're just not allowed to. It is such a great stall tactic that you cannot deny it right now. Hornets are looking to be in a dicey spot. You just lost Dragon again. It is tied up 2-2, but this Baron at 23 minutes and now starting to become a legitimate threat.
It is. And thankfully, they have GP still. The gangplank is still there. The karma is still there. So Southern Miss are very hesitant to take this Baron, same situation as what we saw last game. You don't have enough damage at this point in the game, and if you get caught there, one thing to remember is when Baron hits you, it applies a debuff, which shreds your armor and magic resistance, which stacks infinitely. Which means if you can't take Baron down fast enough, that cannon barrage might hit you when you've got 0 armor, especially for the squishier members like Young Talon, like Gahei. So that's slowing the game down in Orbital. Right now, Southern Miss are looking really, really good. But let's not forget, Shenandoah still have scaling on their side. The way I see Shenandoah winning the next couple of fights will be Creighton trying to space out, drag Sarko off to the side, away from the main fight. Just try and kite. You're not trying to take out Sarko if you can, great. While Kevin finds that backline, because you saw Kevin almost 1v3 earlier. It's going to get easier, especially the more statues, the more stacks he gets.
Or you just start off with a massive catch on 2, and it's an easy pick up behind Creighton. You may not be able to shred Sarko, but Haddle is absolutely easy.
Okay, and they're turning and burning for Baron right now. Sarko caught without teleport on the bottom side of the map. If Sarko gets there, I think he can stall it, but it's going to take a while. Do they have enough damage on the side of Shenandoah?
I mean, they got 3 on there, and I think Pet Napper is trying to run interference on the Orianna, so maybe they got it. It's down to about 5k. It is going quite quickly, and I don't think they are in time to try and challenge. Eagles lose out on this Baron. A great catch by the Hornets, and Shenandoah feel great.
Yeah, and Sarko stopped the minions in the mid lane. He didn't have time.
So good.
Just run. Go straight for the Baron. Huge for Shenandoah. Now they've got Baron. The pushing becomes easier. And Orbital, there is a lot of standing gold. You mentioned it earlier. Shenandoah did a great job in the bot lane, taking both outer and inner turrets in that lane. But they didn't really crack mid or top. So now that is standing gold for Shenandoah to cash in with this Baron buff.
What is that? So nice. And I'm enjoying it. Can we get... I love the fact that I want to wait... Oh... Alright, I think Sarko's gonna come back. There it is. Yep, Sarko's back. I'm excited to keep seeing Way Awesome Kevin get more and more stacks, by the way. Like, that is at the forefront of my mind right now. But we're gonna have some fun here. Ether now on a warding spree and trying to lay down a little bit more vision for everyone. Where do the Eagles go from here? As that is a... what is that? That is not... Is that Diamond? I think that's Diamond now. I think that's Diamond. Yeah, Diamond, so pretty. Let's look. Oh, okay, now there's a fight. We actually gotta watch a fight now. I'm so sorry. My eyes are drawn in. Sarko is gonna hold on for so long here and dodges out on the Cataclysm damage. Are you kidding me? Over the wall of the Cataclysm. You go ahead and draw Way Awesome Kevin away, and we're gonna watch this. Sarko and Way Awesome Kevin are gonna give a stare down while we wait. There we go. Okay, now you're out and about and you're safe. You use the Ghost, and Kangaroo beat using a decent chunk of the kit, whereas Creighton is all alone right now.
You know what, Orbital? I thought Hubris just created statues of yourself. I didn't realize it created statues out of your entire team.
Yeah.
A little bit of a pause there. But yeah, Sarko getting out is actually pretty critical. But I think more importantly is how low Sarko is getting now against Kevin and one person. Another arrow lands, but great cleanse.
Oh, but you can't cleanse the Encore, but nice step by Friends is going to help. It doesn't matter because guess who got in the way? Creighton is now available. Double TP coming down, but I think Sarko just has to run. You have to go unstoppable. 4 people in the mid, and it is going to be the Eagles on the back foot. Look at the shred. Creighton does not care that a tower is there.
Without young talent, they don't have the ability to cut through that front line. Sarko can threaten the back line, but is struggling against all the heals and shields as well. We're not seeing heal cut items come through just yet. Yeah, okay, there's a Bramble Vest for Hado, I should specify. But Hado isn't there right now to actually apply the debuff. So Sarko struggling, and with this burn buff we were talking about, the Hornets are making such good use of it. That pick is enabling free push. There's not enough wave clear for Sudden Miss.
And I will say, this, it's going to be a bit different. I want to talk about some of the stuff, but that's a shockwave that landing on 2. King Rufy is right in the middle. We get to talk about the back line. Young Talon is unstruck, though, so far. Okay. King Rufy is down. Now you get excited. Now you jump in. Sarko brings 3 back. He brought 3 back. And now they slice through as quickly as Hornets push. Eagles push back.
What? I blinked, Orbital, and I feel like I missed that. Like, what? Just out of nowhere. And Southern Miss actually kicked that fight off before Youngtown was even out of Fountain. Like, Youngtown fired the rocket in movement, in rotation, because they knew they were able to do that. And just like that, this is why this game, this series, has been so good, because it's punch for punch, and now they're knocking in the base turrets, the inhibitor turrets. They won't be able to end on this, of course. Death timer is too short at this point. But guess what they're going to get instead, Orbital?
I'm looking at it, but you go ahead and tell me right now. It's a glorious one to go for, too.
They're just making a beeline straight for that dragon. It's been the obsession of Southern Miss so far, Orbital. It granted them such a clean win in Game 1, and they are set to try and do it again here in Game 2.
This now means that the Eagles, Southern Miss Esports, have collected a grand total of 8 of 10 dragons of this series. I would just like to put that out there. That is 8 of 10. That is a ridiculous stat to have for a series. Like
80%, yeah.
That's crazy. Like, it's an amazing job. And Eagles, I give warning again because this is, again, like game number 1. Maybe not as lopsided a mid-game, but it's the same thing, right? Early game does not go their way. They rally back, they're able to fight, and it's still landing on young talent to pump out the damage. Now, almost matching the level of itemization that Creighton has. Remember, Creighton has 10 kills. They are both ADCs are sitting on 3.5.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Young Talon's got 9 Orbital and 2 more assists than Creighton has. So I think that the gold has largely equalized. Deaths don't penalize you in terms of gold, or at least the amount of gold you have in pocket. It just means you're worth less if you stack up more of them. And I think it's very telling, the difference in deaths between these AD carries. The fact that for Shenandoah, they focus very heavily on taking down Young Talon, which is the right call. We've seen that without the Jinx, Southern Miss don't have enough damage to actually finish a lot of these fights. So it feels like the win con often devolves to this sort of situation with Jinx. Kill the Jinx, win the game. But for Shenandoah, I'd actually like to see them not index so hard into Young Talent. If you can get the pick, great. If you can't, the poke we have not seen come through from Creighton, from Ether, from Pet Napper, from Kevin. It's not been given time, and I feel like if you pull these sort of hard engages and you don't find the Jinx right away, that plays into Southern Miss's hands instead.
I think that's what they're hoping to do here as well. Another straight arrow goes right across Young Talon's backside. And you mentioned the likes of Pat Napper, who honestly 0-3-0, but that's flash over the wall. And this might be why Ether goes down. Gahey said, give me that chance. And this is the Eagles pulling that trigger with Baron on the table and no hard CC on that support. Eagles feel like they have a chance to kind of bait stuff out.
Thankfully, Baron hasn't spawned yet for Shenandoah. Yeah. So they aren't going to lose that. Ether will come up just around the same time as Baron and should be able to get there for the actual fight. But I love what Southern Miss is doing. They're not just meandering around. They go and they deny all the vision.
Oh, okay. I thought Pet Napper or Way Awesome Kevin were going to be in the way, right? Like, my eyes were there. That's a huge power Q chunk, though, and everyone's a little bit low. In comes the Kingdom Barrage. This might be the chance. They're going to look to the back line. Kangaroo Creed actually got through it, but where's the damage? Where's the damage? Pet Napper only gets 1, but it's the Oriana. Oh, man, that looks so good for the Horde of Shenandoah. They tried their hardest. Another arrow comes out, but Haddle goes ahead and gets a cleanse. Sarko wants to have it, though. Creighton pinned against the wall, and they're going to try and duke it out. Encore comes through to deny Creighton getting hit, but look at the back line. It's a trade, and now they get excited. This is a problem. Creighton cannot stand against them. A fight that the Hornets thought they could have is not going to go their way. You snipe down one, but Sarko says, stay by me. You will fall as well. And back-to-back ace for the Eagles gives them an opportunity to take this game.
They're looking at Sarko. Yeah, the death timers are so long. It's 10 seconds before Kangaroo Feet comes up, but Sarko could probably take him. No all out available. So the damage from this Cassante might be lacking. It's lack of damage versus lack of damage here, Orbital.
It is, and now they're bringing a TP in as well. Kangaroo Feet has
damage.
to draw so much. Jungle Allen will force him to fight in a space he did not want. Eagles lose 2 early games in a row and win 2 games in a row in the opening match for their season. They will take the win over Shenandoah University Blue.
Well, Orbital, those statues right there now seem almost mocking, and that's why the item is called hubris. Because just when you're feeling good, just when you're proud, well, pride goeth.